The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This podcast is hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the sport of bowling. You will get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this generation, who just happens to be the son of a living legend. So, without further ado, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois, Dr. Ocho, and the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Sr. Oh, I'm sorry, Junior. No, see, I'm already aging you, man. I'm already aging you. Freudian slip happens to everybody, especially Ocho. Happens a lot to him. I mean,
never.
Most guys don't like to talk about it, but yeah. My balls were too soft. Way to go, Ocho. That was a perfect segue. What's going on, Dr. Ocho, the resident doctor of Straight Up 5 land, and everyone's favorite masked bowler? What's up, buddy?
I think tonight, given the topics that we're fixing to tackle, we might find out if he's unfettered. This could be the determining factor if he's fettered or unfettered.
It could be the defining moment on the E-Rad Rob Radio Network.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, y'all are on fire so far. This is good.
We should just end the show.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Jr. Only the junior because of bowling, which I learned last week, which that blew my mind. What's going on, buddy?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for the banning of bowling balls episode of Straight Up 5.
Oh, geez, this is going to be a banger.
It's going to be yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to tonight with everything that's transpired in the last, day, 24 hours. So certainly got a lot to talk about.
Basically, we had nothing scheduled,
Hey,
and luckily we had, this whole shebang hit where we're going to be throwing square blocks down the lane soon, which I'm okay with because I can do that.
It literally happened today. Johnny texted us today and showed us the article. Like, holy shit! Like, they already started with the purple hammer, right? So now they're moving on to certain Storm Pearlized balls. Is that what's going on, Johnny?
Well, I mean, if we want to dive right into it, what happened was there was an agreement. There was a spot test being conducted at the Masters behind the black curtain. The first thing I had saw was a post from Jason Belmonte, because apparently what this was it was like a volunteer type thing, spot check to check these bowling balls and the hardness levels of them. So when I had read Jason Belmonte's post about wanting to witness the viewing, I knew something was definitely going to be up. And what's up, LC? But basically what wound up happening is that the affected models that are no longer effective March 30th, 2022, they are prohibited from use in the Usbc national tournaments, including and not limited to events such as the existing current Usbc Masters being contested at Gold Coast. So the 6 balls are the Storm Phase 4, the Electrify Solid, Storm Trend 2, the 900 Global Altered Reality, the 900 Global Wolverine, and the Rotogrip UFO Alert.
What prompted this? Like this all of a sudden? We know the purple hammer gimmick happened, but like that could mean anything.
It's the hardness thing, right? Again?
But I mean, so it was still under scrutiny with the whole thing had never really washed away. They just found one bowling ball to start with, and now it's kind of like a domino effect, I guess.
I don't know, and I don't think anybody really knows yet. I see your fans are here tonight, Oach.
My fan is here.
One of them, yeah.
They are saying that it was below the 73D hardness specification. So obviously, with what went on with the Purple Hammer and most recently the Spectre, I'm assuming at this point they're trying to enforce to make sure the playing field is level. Whatever reason they're doing, I'm not going to give them too much credit because, again, just like the Open Championships, as we talked about in our last podcast, you know what? Fuck this decision from USBC, guys. I mean, honestly, it's and I'm talking strictly as if I was just a bowler. Like that's where I guess I'll open the conversation with. I'll just be as unfettered as I can with this thought. There's 480 guys bowling the Masters this week. Now, let's say, because Storm is such a huge player in the bowling industry, that 250 of those guys throw Storm products. And let's say 100 of them are staff members, maybe 60 national staffers, 30 regional guys, and 10 from my buddy Sweep the Rack podcast, Patch Pirates, guys that'll just wear the brand to get the stuff. And then you have the other 125 some odd guys that go to their local pro shop, buy these bowling balls specifically to do certain things at tournaments like one of the biggest ones the PBA level has to offer, which is the Masters. And they spend thousands of dollars on this equipment. Not to mention just the balls, the $75 drill fee, the $12 set of grips, the $15 or $20 interchangeable thumb hole. When it's all said and done, let's just call those 4 bowling balls full price out the door. Well, $1,200. We'll call it for everything, right? So now they come out here and they bowl the practice session, and what happens? They bowl the practice session, and now they're told that they can't use these 6 bowling balls, which, by the way, in case anybody's unfamiliar with these bowling balls, the Phase 4, let's be honest, the Storm Phase 2 is one of the best balls ever made, one of the best selling balls ever made, so anything in the Phase line is going to be good. The Storm Electrify Solid, fantastic lower end ball. The Trend 2, Belmo ball, awesome. The Altered Reality, everybody has that ball where I bowl league. The Wolverine, everybody is starting to have that ball at league. And the UFO Alert is one. It just keeps winning. The UFO Alert and the Wolverine keep winning. They keep winning majors. Simonson, Belmo, you name it, they're winning with that ball. These are all top of the line, awesome, fantastic bowling balls.
This is like taking a Pro V1 off of the golf tour or something like that, I feel like. Maybe not as drastic.
At the end of round 1.
Yeah, right.
At the end of round 1.
We got the leaderboard for round 1. Now we got an early tee time the next morning. And they're like, by the way, you got to use your X outs or your, top flights or something like that.
Yeah. You have to use your practice Pro V1s that go, 15 yards.
Yeah, so it wasn't
less.
like they just took balls that weren't under the specs. These were balls that were winning tournaments and people were scoring with. Holy Jesus.
Right. What's up, Mike?
Let me ask you this, Johnny. I mentioned it last week or a week before, like NASCAR, whenever the car wins, they take it in for testing to make sure it's legal, to make sure it's aerodynamic, and there wasn't anything, illegal about it. Do they test balls after tournament wins?
Not to my knowledge. I know that they'll do random spot checks, like they'll do random weigh-ins. I'm assuming, I haven't been out there again. So again, this is all opinion based, but I would assume now with the no weight holes and the super high amount of ounces you're allowed on the top or side of a ball that the spot checks are less in that capacity, which is probably what's leading to more of the spot checks of the hardness. Mainly because now you can basically manipulate a bowling ball to do whatever you want in any way, shape, or form, whether it be with layout and or surface change combinations. You can make one bowling ball turn into 10 different bowling balls if you really wanted to, let's be honest. So I think it's 3.5 ounces now of side and top. You could put the pin anywhere. You can
so filling in the weight hole actually made it better or like made the bowling ball more effective when they started doing that last year when you had to you couldn't have a hole that you didn't use. Take that any way you want also.
Right. Yeah, no, it's not so much that it made it better. It just changed the game. Weight hole with a weight hole in a bowling ball, you have the ability of manipulating a ball a lot more. You can make it change direction differently down lane, stronger, softer. So
but
now
you only
with the
had
new
that one feature though, right? Like that's what the weight hole was designed for that
exactly.
feature. Okay.
Yes. So sorry about that. I needed to take a sip of something.
Power pause.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to the main thing about it is I would assume they are now testing the softness level because it's a truer scale as far as, in their opinion, of testing legality of bowling balls. And with the recent issues that were surrounding the 16 and 17 hammers, if they were or were not soft, that was never actually really established. And again, never banned by the USBC in any capacity until the USBC Open Championship started a few weeks ago. So I think that's the reason why they're doing it that way. Now, again, going back to my original issue with it, that with the black curtain that we're going to call the USBC right now, we should just call them the black curtain. I mean, I still can't fathom how you could tell somebody you need to check their equipment and they can't witness you doing it. What Jason wrote on social media earlier, Belmonte, he's spot on about. I mean, I can't Sorry, I'm getting off track here, so you got to bear with me for a second.
No,
But the thing that really upsets me, like I said earlier, is the other 125 guys that come out here that are not under contract that spend thousands of dollars on this equipment. The reason I was mentioning all these bowling balls was to let everybody know that everybody uses these bowling balls. These are awesome bowling balls, all 6 of them. So the odds are of those 125 guys that throw Storm exclusively that aren't staffers, at least 3 of these balls are in their bag. If they flew here from Tennessee with 6 bowling balls and 1 bag has a Trend 2, an Altered Reality, and a Wolverine, they now know after the completion of day 1 they can't use one of their bags anymore. So what do? Now you have to go out to the PBA truck and hope there's enough inventory out there to handle the amount, if there is even a truck there. I don't even know if there's a truck at the venue this week. If anybody knows, pop in and let me know. But even if there is, I was talking to Osku Palermo at League last night, and he says there's got to be a truck. He said that the availability is so limited of the bowling balls, they just weren't expecting that. It is Usbc Masters and Usbc testing the balls, not PBA this week, brother. Thanks, Josh. Yeah, so Usbc testing the balls this week. So whatever the reason may be, back on the actual subject, the thing that upset me the most is all of those bowlers that now are screwed in this event. They've come out here and they've spent money to compete at the highest level, and now they're told that they can't use half of their weapons. It's I think it was a gross placement, and I don't really understand why.
Hey, what's that going to mean for the Nationals or whatever they're called, the one that I go to? Like, if people got to bowl with it for the first half of the tournament, it's a 5-month tournament. So now everybody who bowls after today can't use that equipment is what's happening, basically?
I don't think that was established.
Isn't that USBC?
Yeah, actually, yes, including the Open Championships, the Women's Open Championships, all PWBA Tour events, USBC Junior Gold and Youth Open Championships, USBC Intercollegiate Championships, USBC Team USA Trials, USBC Senior Masters, and USBC Senior Queens.
Well, thank God I still got those balls from 2008 that I used, so I'm in the clear.
So you can see, and you can still use these. You could still use these products in your local leagues. I think that I'm assuming maybe certain leagues will have certain rules that govern their league bodies themselves, but to my knowledge, you can still use all of these in league competition and local tournament competition. Can weather change the hardness of a bowling ball? Yeah, absolutely. I always give the reference back to the yellow dot, to the Columbia yellow dot, the bleeder. I mean, if you left that ball in your bag in your trunk on a 100-degree day, and then you open the bag, there'd be a puddle of oil just soaking at the bottom of the bag. Yeah. So, a bowling ball will heat up and get cold. If you take out a ball from a 0-degree day on the East Coast, if the ball's dark, it'll have all those bunch of like white spots on the ball. That's everything inside coming to escape. So it's yeah, absolutely. Weather changes it. Leaving a bowling ball sitting on the floor in one spot can change the structure of a bowling ball.
Mine
when
cracked.
I was going to say, when I was in my store, there were several times where I had bowling balls that were sitting on the showroom floor wall for so long that they actually split sitting on the wall. So
and most of us yahoos, that are once a week ham and eggers do just leave our garbage in the trunk and go, well, I don't want to take it out because I don't want to forget it.
Exactly.
Summer, winter, spring, doesn't matter. It just stays in my fucking car or my garage. So you mentioned something in the notes of today's what we're going to talk about tonight. You mentioned delegitimizing Belmo wins. What did you mean by that?
No, what I was saying was I always search some of the bigger names that when something like this comes up, I like to search what the bigger names are doing. And, like, for instance, Darren Tang is a friend. He drills out of his garage out here in Vegas. So I know, like, going back to the story of the guys who were screwed out of the one bag of bowling balls, if they bring 3 of these bowling balls, like, I know that Darren Tang and some of the buddies that are in the house on tour are going and drilling bowling balls to, replace the ones they can't use, right? Again, these are perks of the pros, and these are perks of living here and having access to equipment like that other bowlers that are trying to come out here and compete don't have access to, which is, again, why I'm so disgusted with the decision to make this announcement at this time. I thought that it's screwed too many people in a market that we're trying to get more bowlers like to enter into. You know, I just think it flat out sucked. But where was I going with that? Because I was circling back around talking about
delegitimizing.
Oh, so yeah. So the first people that didn't want to make very many comments about it, but are drilling balls over at Darren Tang's place are Brad and Kyle. You know, I respect Brad and Kyle very much. So that's what led me to that. And then later on, I read a tweet from Dick Allen that says two-handers is basically the reason that we're having all the softness checking now. Now, again, that's a completely different can of worms if we ever wanted to bark up that tree. But I think that the people or the responders or the haters or, you know, the people that are just going to say whatever they emotionally want to say on social media are coming out and trying to say that now these bowling balls, we should delegitimize the greatness of Belmo. Like, guys, not for nothing. He's been kicking everybody's ass for way longer than any of you were even thinking about spot checking the softness or hardness of a bowling ball. Give me a break. But that was what Dick Allen had posted. And then obviously the one that I had mentioned earlier was talking about Belmo speaking about it on social media as well. So again, just a lot of things surrounding it. And I'm assuming that just like everything else, there's going to be more things that follow it. This is my good friend Sonny from back east. I'll read this one out loud. That's a benefit of having somebody who can drill for you like your dad or your friends. Other people are getting really raked over the coals. A lot of money. For people who don't have a disc pen, what is that? Am I a schmuck? Am I reading that wrong?
It's a weed dispensary they're talking about.
That's what I was thinking. Anyway. And I watched Brad and Kyle and them during the new balls, and you also have to have the balls at your convenience and know how to drill them. It's a lot of knowledge. And you need to have somebody that's able to drill out for you, and your knowledge and respects everything in it, puts people at an advantage and unfair disadvantage. Exactly. She proves a perfect point. Exactly what I was
if you don't
saying.
have your specs with you or anything like that, or you're a guy who drills your stuff, you know, these guys go drill and they're able to throw. Remember getting a bowling ball drilled? First, let it go. No, it's not good here. Bevel this spot. Let it go again. You know, it's a 2-hour process to get your hand to fit properly.
Yeah, and not even that, dude. The money. Like,
right.
even if, like, just think about the guys that come out here with a sponsor. Okay, at least the sponsor should understand it. But what about the guys that like saved every dollar to come bowl, and they're like, I think I can get a check out there. I'm friggin' ready to go get a check this week. What about that guy that doesn't have extra cash to do that? Like, it's just shitty to me.
I can't
get it out of my brain.
They're eating their own basically, and it's if anything, it's just going to stymie their product because now they're not giving people a chance that should rightfully get one. I mean, if it's still a testament to skill, you know, let the chips fall where they may. We're not talking steroids in baseball or anything like that, and I mean, you know, you're just making such a, you know, let the season play out. And then in the offseason say, hey, by the way, we're going to change the specs of this or something like that. It's really the timing is just so bizarre, really.
My good friend Steve DeFazio says, think of this irony. Will USBC recognize an honor score in league play with one of the questionable balls? JP, miss you, bro. Go Morehead State. Good to hear. Good to hear from you, Steve. It's a great question. And yes, I do. I think they will. I don't think that, like I said, I don't think they're going to ban these bowling balls at a league level. I think that's just pure insanity. And I think with such a huge force like Storm that sells so many bowling balls to so many supportive customers, the amount of turnover, the amount of bowling balls they would have to replace is just, I can't even fathom what that number has to be, guys. Especially with these bowling balls, because they're all so good. Every single one of those bowling balls is so good.
And I know Storm worked out a replacement program with them. That was announced in the article as well. So where do they stop, Johnny? I mean, it started with the Purple Hammer. Now they're going into these Storm balls and other balls. Do they go after more Brunswick stuff? I mean, are they going to be?
Well, that was the question I had through this. Sorry to cut you off, Rob, but that was the question I had, and nobody so far seems to have answered it for me. I asked if any other products were tested.
And so they won't know unless they
other than Storm.
Yeah.
Like, and in all of these things that I've heard since this started, I've only heard people talk about the spot check on softness of Storm products. Didn't hear a word from anybody about Motive, Hammer, Deviate, nothing. Were they? They won't be banned in league. If so, ban the house shot. Yeah, the house shot.
Ocho's screwed if they ban the house shots.
Oh, I'm so done. So,
I'm screwed if they get rid of house shots.
It's not it's not like a conspiracy. It's like they did fail the test, obviously, but I would almost venture to say if you went through half of every supply, there's probably other bowling balls that would fail the hardness check too.
You would have to think they're going to scrutinize every developer.
Right,
maybe.
right. Take it equally.
Yeah, I mean, it's only fair, right?
You would think at this point, yeah, absolutely. So it's, I guess we'll just see what comes.
Maybe that's to come. Maybe that's down the road. But the timing, somebody make sense.
Again, guys, I definitely want to reiterate this. Again, I'm open-minded. I understand the game is changing. I understand that the two-handers are innovating the sport and everybody else is trying to imitate it now because that is the future of the sport. I understand that softness of a bowling ball will hug a lane. I do understand that if a ball is softer, that it makes the lane easier, that it makes bowling easier.
No,
I get all that.
You're not saying you're out for illegal bowling balls. You're not saying that that's the point.
Disgusted. The same way Wes Malott didn't want to bowl the plastic ball the week before the U.S. Open because he didn't like the placement of it. I'm like that. I don't like the placement of it. I don't like shoving it up however many people's asses for whatever your agenda may be for the benefit of the future. Because right now, you could have done it 2 days earlier. You could have done it a week prior. That way, the people flying from all over the country could have replaced those bowling balls at home. Maybe their own pro shop guy could have drilled them new rocks and given them some sort of a payment plan or an exchange rate, something. It was just disgusting.
Well, that goes
Jim,
to the time of year. Yeah,
Rob, read that one.
Jim Kimball says I'm out almost 1,000 with my 3 balls banned for the Open. What the hell do I do now? It's a perfect question. And, you had mentioned that before. The pros can just go to the truck or whatever and get whatever they want, right? Or the reps for the companies, the ambassadors for the brands can just go and just drill something else. That's fine. But for guys like me and Butch and whoever else that's taking time to pay the money to fly out there and to get a hotel and bowl and now find out that they can't use, balls that have been perfectly legal yesterday, is pretty fucked, really.
My last night, I told you I bowled league last night. Last year when I didn't bowl with my normal Strike It Rich team, I bowled because I had to fly home. I was the minister at my sister's wedding, so I had to bowl with a separate team, and I bowled with a Harvey Johnson squad, and that team had a kid Ramsey Biserto on it, and Ramsey and I became good friends from bowling together last year, and last night he's here bowling the Masters, and he came out to bowl and sub in league, and he subbed against my team last night. And as he's practicing, the first ball he takes out is an Rotogrip Idol Helios. Second ball is a 900 Global Wolverine. The third ball is a Storm Phase 4. I look at Ramsey, and I said, Ramsey, I have to ask, when you go bowl tomorrow at 8 a.m., you can't use either of these two balls, right? You can't bring this Wolverine, and you can't bring this Phase 4. He goes, yep. And I'm really effing pissed about it. Like, he was just frozen. Like, and this is a good bowler. This is a guy that 1,000% should make the top 64. 1,000%.
It sounds like more of an FU than a spot check. I feel like there's something. None of it makes sense. Like you said, do it the week before. Do it at the end of the season. Like, it's just such a big. It sounds like they're trying to make an example out of somebody. Like, we got you. Now we're on to you. I don't know, man. But
and did somebody tip them off on it, Johnny?
Or that's my next thing. Like, was there, a lot of freaking boo birds going around saying, hey, check this or check that?
Listen, I'll be completely frank with you right now.
Say it,
that's
dude.
why we do it on Straight Up 5.
I am a Brunswick guy for life. I will always be a Brunswick guy. But I 1,000% respect the living shit out of Storm products. I think they have always made great bowling balls. I think they're excellent at marketing. I love that they sponsor virtually every single tournament that you ever see. I don't know why it seems like they're the brand that got hit this week at the Masters necessarily. But what I do think is that I think that Storm is one of the best manufacturers the sport's ever seen. Period, hands down. You know, I always say that, end the story. But that's the God's honest truth. So whatever does happen, they'll fix their issue if there is one, and they'll make it right with all their customers. They always do. Again, going back to it, the only thing I could possibly fathom as to why it's a Storm issue directly would be probably because of the recent issues with the Spectre, because the Spectre failed and that single ball was replaced to all of the customers that did purchase it. So
great point here, Johnny.
Just somebody made that point. Yep.
You can't change the rules after it starts.
Exactly.
So how can they get away with it then? Why can't they just say this will go into effect after the Nationals?
Ask me that one more time. I was reading a social media drop from Jackie Bowling, so I have to get back to her in a minute. Keep going.
Should they have just waited until the tournament's over? Because people have already used those balls and qualified or whatever, or cashed or whatever. It's okay for them, but now today, Ocho's fucked if he, you can't use those balls. So why didn't they just wait until after the open tournaments were over?
Like I said, man, I don't know. That's the whole reason for my rant is I just don't understand the timing. It's
like people walked out with JP. You remember when golf put the specs on the driver? What is it? 460, I think, is the maximum head.
Yeah, 460 cc.
CC, yeah, right. So they're almost making it like people were writing 460 on their driver, but coming out with 480 or something like that, and then somebody tipped them off or something. It feels something along those lines, like conspiracy-wise.
Dude.
I mean, it's rhetorical. Don't get me wrong, but that's the only thing I can associate it to. Like,
I get it, but Johnny, hold on. Let's break this down on a molecular level, and which Ocho can do because he's a doctor. But you're a smart guy. You've been around the business forever. It's in your blood. If you had to speculate on why they did it now, just throw an opinion out there. I know you don't understand the timing, but think of it from a different perspective. Why do you think this will come into effect right now?
They're trying to screw someone. That's my thing.
I can't answer that. And honestly, when I can't even answer something, I really don't know, dude.
Are you towing the line right now, or are you off air going to go, dude? They're trying.
Am I
to screw
towing the
somebody,
line?
or are they going to
unfettered? Goddamn it!
Even still, like
I'm
you
towing
don't
the
have
line.
to be right. You don't have to be right.
I am towing the line.
Okay.
You know what? And I'm so triggered to always toe the line because again, I have mad respect for my dad in this industry and all the good that he's brought to it. But in the same respect, I'm just like over and over in my head, I'm just replaying in my brain the amount of people that come here to this event to like just to be a champion. And like go tell somebody to fucking try out for Notre Dame as a walk-on, but they can't wear spikes.
Yeah, you don't get a helmet.
Or you can wear spikes the first day, but not the second day.
Everyone else gets longer spikes, you get shorter ones, and that's it.
Like it's irking me. It's irking me hard, like
so
to my core
you're
right
saying
now.
You can't even, regardless of towing the line, you can't figure out, even if there's no reason to screw somebody, there's no reason to try and yank Storm down a couple of pegs because they're an ambassador for the sport.
They had to be tipped off. Somebody within the industry that's high enough up had to say, here, like on a little slip of paper, a backhand handshake, like you may want to go look at these numbers again. Look at the highlighted section. You know, there you go. I think that maybe they are being targeted. Yeah, maybe they are. Who knows? But again, that's all speculation, and that's all the only thing I could possibly think of right now. But still, even if that were the case, so you screw half of the field. You screw half of the field, and what do you gain out of it? What are you gaining? You're getting a shitload of pissed off bowlers and now a shitload of confused league bowlers because now everybody is going to have a different story about what the hell is going on.
Yeah, because they're governed by a lot of leagues are governed by the USBC and follow their guidelines. So
exactly,
a lot of people are going to be worried right now.
Yeah, no shit.
And again, the problem is it's not like it's a booming sport. We're not ripping on it. We were just speaking factually. Like like they were in the dark ages a few years ago, and they're coming back out. I
Put
feel
that back.
like 10 years ago, but like they're coming back out of it. So they don't need something like this to tarnish. They don't need any. You know,
no, they don't.
They
don't need any
credibility.
bad
Anything to hit their credibility at this point. They really don't.
This is a good buddy of mine. I'm actually going to watch bowl the 8 a.m. squad tomorrow, and I think he's still got a shot at the numbers, so kick some ass tomorrow, Jerry. He says they shouldn't have banned the balls from the Masters until the event was over. So many people are screwed because half their arsenal is out of play. This is a fellow Brands of Brunswick member. I mean, talking the same thing. This has nothing to do to
just because you're a Brunswick guy.
This has nothing to do
Storm.
with what bowling ball I throw. This has to do with like we keep talking about the people that now have to replace their bowling balls. The staffers too. Mm-hmm. Now the staffers have to either bring as many guys as they can to their house to drill or go inconvenience their ball driller who now has to tell paying customers, sorry, I have to drill 30 bowling balls before 5 p.m. tomorrow because these guys are bowling the Masters and can't use these. But you guys can use these if you want to. You just have to wait an extra day for me to drill your shit down. It's just this massive snowball effect of motherfuckery. And it's just boom. And it's just going to keep on going. It creates more and more separation within the sport as if we don't have enough of that already.
Someone just posted that like pretty much nothing good can come out of this.
No, at all.
For right now, for sure. I mean, we don't know in 5 years, but I can't imagine someone's going to say, thank God you banned those bowling balls because
here's something. When you mix power and accuracy together, it's pretty hard to beat in pretty much any sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how soft the ball is, how hard the ball is, how much oil is on or not on the bowling lane. The two-handers are more powerful, and there are two-handers and no-thumbers are more powerful than a traditionalist that bowls. It's inevitable. It's what's happening now. It's what is the future of the sport. So it doesn't matter what element you do or what bowling balls you take out of play because all you're doing is taking all the other bowlers who still can't beat
the
more powerful, accurate players, and now they can't even shoot what they were normally shooting because you took their weapons out of play.
You just basically lowered everybody just a little bit, but
just a little bit.
The differentiation's still the same. I mean, the bowling ball doesn't know who's throwing it. It just knows if it's spinning a lot more, revving a lot more, and hooking a lot more. It doesn't know whose hand is in it, how many hands are on it. So,
and you're discouraging those people from even coming back and bowling again. Like
that's just it.
They can't even afford it either.
Yeah.
Good friend Kim says, "Hi Kim, can y'all answer why the PBA is not agreeing with the USBC?"
Good question.
Kim, elaborate just a smidge for me, girl. What I'll say while she's doing that is the PBA and USBC, from what I have seen, again, this is a completely opinionated statement, is that they've never worked together, ever. Like for as long as I've known it, they've never worked together. The USBC has its memberships, and then they host this one event a year that's not at one time wasn't even considered a PBA title, and so they've never agreed on that. The USBC, to me, doesn't seem to merge with the PBA, very similar to the way the USGA doesn't merge with the PGA on tour, which is why the USGA sucks compared to the PGA running a golf tournament. Like every year, the US Open, it's the hardest tournament in golf because it takes +4 to win. That's because you turned a par 72 into a par 70, and you made 2 par 5s that are 530 yards par 4s.
And
you didn't all of a sudden just make... These are not the best fucking golfers in the world, guys. Now the guys that hit it the longest have a better chance at the U.S. Open. It's why the Masters is the best tournament in golf because you have to shape it. You have to hit it long and short.
You need all your shots.
You need all your shots. Exactly. But like I don't know. And Kim is by the way, Kim is an extremely well-respected person in this industry. So I definitely want to know exactly what she's asking with this question before I go off on too much of a rant here. But I don't know because, again, I'm not out there exactly what she means when she says, what are they not agreeing on? So when she pops that, bring that back up for me because I want to read that.
Someone wrote that the PBA is allowing the ball. So
right.
Is that what she means?
Well, if I had to guess, if it's an integrity thing between, illegal bowling balls or what they deem illegal bowling balls, if it's banned on one side, it should be banned across the board. Like if it's wrong for the, in the USBC, it should be wrong with the PBA if it's an integrity issue.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. I feel like if you're going to ban a bowling ball, you ban the bowling ball. Like not every 2 years on the PBA tour, we're banning these urethanes, or hey, at the USBC Open Championships, you can't throw a hammer from 2016 or 17. Oh, if you're bowling the Masters this week, you can't throw these 6 Storm bowling balls. Oh, if you're going on the PBA 50 tour, you can't throw a ball if it's still in the box. Whatever it's going to escalate to.
It's like
make it the same. Here we go.
Doing a carnival with like a spin thing, and it's like zing, and it's like, what do we do this week? It says ban the high road or whatever.
Yeah. Ochin Rob, you guys hit it on the head. Kim says you are still allowed to throw them in PBA events. Makes no sense. PBA says they have seen no data to agree with this. That I do agree with. In that respect, I have no clue why they can't come to some sort of agreement. It seems like the simplest, easiest thing in the world to do, which I guess is why I'm somewhat moderately irritated about it at this current moment in time.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, like you said, I got to fucking check my schedule and see what I'm bowling, and I got to make sure that, this rule here and this rule there. Like you said, I don't know if I'm supposed to use it here. I can use it at this event because it's not sanctioned, or it's just make it consistent across the board so everybody can follow it. So they don't, number one, get fucked if they use it and forgot that they couldn't use it at a certain event. And number two, like, again, if it's an integrity issue with the bowling ball, it should affect the PBA. And I know they came out and said that those balls aren't going to be banned, but now I want to hear why. They say they have no data to back it up, but obviously somebody does. So I want, and maybe more will come out next week or this week,
That's just it. We still don't, nobody knows why. There hasn't been a why. I mean, by the way, JP, when you were done with that last rant, did you just turn to the side and like blow a kiss to an imaginary person or something like that? Because it looked like you gave like this like Dick Tracy kind of turn and like, a head bob, a wink in the gun kind of thing. We noticed these things on Straight Up 5. All right, good enough, man.
Yes, I do.
Right on.
You know what I'm saying, Johnny? Like, if the balls are illegal and if it's an unfair advantage to use those balls, people are going to look at the PBA like, what the fuck? You're supposed to be the marquee. You're the biggest name in bowling. Why aren't you doing the same thing? And they're going to demand answers from the PBA.
Do you guys remember when Andro wasn't banned originally, when McGuire was taking it, and then all of a sudden they decided to ban it like 3/4 of the way through the season because they finally found out data? It's like, I don't know. There was no data. They freaking tipped him off and said did that just say he looks like a modern Joe Piscopo?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Thanks, Jose. By the way, I love looking at that old newspaper clipping of you when you were my idol back in the Carolier days. Miss you, bro. And thank you for your service. And did Storm agree to this to stop them from continuously making their life hell? Hell if I know. That's a great question.
Because if it's like this, in a month, the same thing might happen. Oh, by the way, now we tested more of your bowling balls and the freaking the phase my ass and whatever the hell. I don't know bowling balls names, but whatever. They're going to be not fit for competition or something. I don't know. If I knew a bowling ball name, I would say it.
Well, I mean, like Steve DeFazio says, it's 100% a punitive decision. It's hypocritical to say these balls are not okay for the USBC tourney, but okay for league and PBA. Again, I want answers from the PBA as to why they're not going to ban these balls. And don't say because we don't have any fucking data, because that's bullshit. You can go test the balls yourself. That's a cop-out excuse. Mm-hmm. I want answers from the PBA as to why they're not going to look into this stuff.
You know what's so crazy to me is I was thoroughly starting to enjoy watching bowling again because all of the brands have such good bowling balls right now. Like, they're all good-looking bowling balls, and all the balls roll nice right now. Love you too, Jose. All the balls roll. They all look good right now. All of them. Kim, let me check. I'm going to check my other computer because I don't even know that. That's how out of
For
it
those
I
of you
am.
listening, Kim Evans Man wants to know: does the High Road not have the same cover stock as the Phase 4?
Let's see.
While he's doing that, Ocho,
I believe the High Road was what, R2S, if I'm not mistaken.
absolutely right, R2S.
I thought it was
Ocho,
R2D2.
do you have any of these balls that we're talking about?
No, they're new. I think my newest
It
bowling
sure
ball
is.
is from 2010.
Exact same cover stock as one of the highest grossing resin balls ever made, the original High Road. 73 to 75 on the durometer, 1500 grit factory finish, Pearl Reactive R2S cover stock. It sure is.
Johnny, do you think the USBC is going to go after the rest of the manufacturers, in your opinion? Like, why stop there?
At this point, if they don't, that's fucked up.
They have to.
Oh.
I mean, they have
that's
to.
what I asked earlier. That's why I asked the question earlier. I said, did they only check Storm? Like, is that all you guys check? Because I only heard it about Storm. I didn't hear it about anybody else.
They really need to make an explanation out of this because they have to, for one, and somebody explain the timing of it. Like, did they find out that the pattern that they put down matched up so perfectly with what these bowling balls were going to do? And they were like, well, now we're just going to have, 20 guys run away with it. And there's going to be a conspiracy on that. They're preventing that. None of it makes any sense. And I shouldn't even thought of that.
And do you think the PBA will talk about it on air? Tim Brunswick wants to know, like, how are they going to cover that? When the event finals are televised, will they talk about it?
I think that they'll make it very professional. I think that they'll probably do a play on something along the lines of, currently as we go through the new testing process of manufactured bowling balls, matching the durometer specifications of 73D or higher on this scale, yada, yada, yada. We're currently in the early stages of it, but we're swiftly and promptly going to bring you an expedited response as to which balls will or will not be banned from all competitive USBC league play. Or
let me ask you this.
They should say something along those lines, but actually have it make sense.
Do you think there was any intent on Storm's part to make them softer so they're
absolutely
more
not?
Okay.
Not in a million years. Absolute zero. No, I don't. No,
there you go.
Not in any way, shape. It's like, and anybody that even says that bothers me. And I'm a Brunswick guy.
So great question on my part.
Storm is, let's be honest, Storm, dude, anybody that remembers 12, 13-year-old Johnny and remembers the Carolier Lane story of when I just would not leave Brian Berg, the old Storm tour rep, alone because all I wanted was a 13-pound Blue Thunder at the Johnny Petraglia Open. I caused so many problems that week because all I wanted was a Blue Thunder. Ever since those years, dude, the Thunders, the Firepower, the Tour Power, the Eraser Series, Storm has been the bowling ball. And they've been making good bowling balls for a long time. Then
was this their attempt to compete with the specs of the Purple Hammer, which is softer and whatever, like at the cusp? Is there's a reason why they failed? You know what I mean? Like maybe not, but like they're trying to match the same specs that this magical Purple Hammer's been doing, which also then just got the recall for anything 2 years older than.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that question in a second, Johnny, but just to piggyback off of what Oach said, like it was a specific pour, at Ebonite in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. So it was an irregularity. Are these Storm balls that are, poured that way? Was that an irregularity or a mistake on somebody's part? Like,
it sounds like it could have been a mistake in a pour of a specific batch that happens to be the batches that they tested, So
then you're going to say ban them all, even though like other pours the ball may not, follow under those guidelines. Like that's kind of a broad sweeping thing to say, because we knew that specific Purple Hammers with their serial numbers and all that, like they knew those were the bad pours. But as far as these Storm balls, like it's pretty fucked up to just ban them all when it could have just been a bad production day for a few of them.
Yeah, again, those are things that are not out in the light yet, so I don't really know, but I think we kind of proved our point on that whole thing. This is one of my groomsmen and one of my best friends in the world and one of the best talents the bowling world has ever seen. Alex brings up a very interesting thought here. The Masters, as we spoke earlier, is now a PBA major. Put it back. Masters becomes a PBA event on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Can the balls be used on the show since the PBA is allowing them?
Oh, Christ. This is the problem with, oh, my God.
That is one of the best questions I've heard or seen on any outlet tonight. Because what happens on Sunday if it becomes a battle for a PBA major?
Well, whoever got there isn't using the bowling ball.
What if Belmo and Simonson make the show? And Simonson wants to use that trusty UFO alert and that Wolverine he's been using, and Belmo wants to go out and throw that UFO alert that he's been throwing. Just because those are the balls that they've won everything with this year, and those are the balls that are matching up to this year's conditions out on the tour. What if Chris Prater makes the show too, hooking the entire lane with an altered reality like he did at the last major? I forgot which one it was.
Oh, that ball? Did he?
Well, he used the dark code on TV, but the ball that he bowled the 300, 279 back to back
that got him to the show and had the number one seed. I thought.
Yeah. That was an awesome performance.
So all that could happen because obviously it's legal in the PBA. So
yeah, even Kim's saying it right now too. Like, holy shit! What if that and like, let's be honest, that is most likely going to happen, right? I mean, granted, it is the Masters. It is it's the hardest and easiest tournament to win, if you can imagine that on tour. It's the you got to bowl great, but it's also the crapshoot. In other words, you can qualify 63rd.
Everyone's got a chance, even at
and
the
bowl
worst.
3 guys that shoot 550 at you, and you get lucky. Sometimes that's why you see a lot of amateurs make the show, but nevertheless, usually there's 2 studs that at least make the show at the Masters every year.
One more speculative question here, then. Now, I know this is going to be tough to answer, but if they say nothing about this, is bowling just ever going to regain any shred of integrity after that? Like, let's say they just deem it as like a one-time thing. They're not going to test Brunswick. They're not going to test anything. They just decided to ban these bowling balls. Next year, they don't care. It's back to square one. They have to atone for this, right? There's got to be some recourse down the line as to what their madness was. Or is the whole thing just a shit show?
Rob, what do you think?
It's weird. Like, as more information comes out, like it started with the purple hammer, and you're like, all right, that's fine. We can see that. And we thought that
like,
was
are they going to bury it? Is what I mean.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean there, Roach. But like now it's the storm balls. Like it is weird timing that this happened, and not to have 2 different manufacturers have the same problem does not absolutely make sense to me at all. And like Ocho says, when you're having a hard time trying to grow the sport because it's not as popular as it used to be, it's more of a hobby, with most people. It's a fun night out. When you're trying to encourage more league bowlers to, become a pro one day, you don't need the 2 sides kind of be like, playing a game of whose dick is bigger. Like,
yeah, you're giving them a big mind fuck the whole time, and they're like, well,
exactly.
Shit, how do I even know what product to use or what venture to go in, what avenue to go down? And to not see,
and it's not even that. It's then you get the shit together. You're like, okay, I hope this is right. And then you get there, and they're like, nope. That's wrong.
The carpet right out from underneath you. It's like,
exactly.
Now here's
the timing sucked. The timing sucked. It was fucking stupid.
This is what's funny, though, is we could also – I can't think of any reason. Obviously, JP, you can't. Rob hasn't thought of any reason. But in a month, they may explain it, and we might go, oh, my God, that's what they were doing. But I can't for the life of me, no matter what. It would have to be very, very structured to where, okay, some smart people were in the right place. I got my fingers crossed that that's going to happen, though.
Eric brings up a great point right there.
Yeah. You can't change the rules of any game after it's already started. It's like
exactly. You can if you want to bet the in play on a sports bet.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's not
You
even.
can do it
You
then.
know how the Scrabble rules have to be understood. Like there's no abbreviations. There's no.
I understand if I play
Monopoly.
Monopoly at Rob's house, I may get the money in the middle if I land on free parking.
Other
That
people,
doesn't
you may
happen
not. Yes.
if we play Monopoly at my house. It doesn't happen.
It's almost
Money
like
stays there.
a wrestling match. Like, oh, this is a regular match, and then somebody comes down and makes a different ruling. Now it's no disqualification, and then somebody else comes down later on and says, no, it's no countouts. It's
Right.
Like, I already prepared for this. You couldn't do it in the NFL for fuck's sake. Like, they tried with Tom Brady's balls, but I mean, it didn't work out for him. Yeah. But people were allowed to get away with it yesterday, and now today they can't. What if
maybe there is something?
What if next week they come out and say we found 5 Brunswick balls and rattle them off? Like, all right, those are fucked too. Like, number one, when
I'd almost give them more credibility if they did that, because at least they're being universal with it, though. I don't want to say credibility because it still sounds like a bit of a witch hunt, but at least they're trying to be consistent. Timing doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, but I'd be a little better with that. But I think Rob said it best. It's like, whose schmeck is bigger, and this is the rule we're going to play by because they said so. No rhyme, no reason. And this is a professional league, a professional sport. I mean, this is supposed to be professionals. I don't know. Go ahead. And I apologize for any women that are falling in love with me. Let me apologize for that.
Ouch. Different times, different cards. He still wins.
He still wins every time. He's bullshit.
Darren Barlow says USBC is the kid and Big Daddy playing. I win. Sadly, the rest of us all lose. Is it a power play? I mean, do you think?
No, that's right. Exactly. No, nothing good has come out of this as of now, or even in the immediate future.
It's so dumb.
Have you talked to your dad about it at all yet today?
No.
I plan on chatting with him about it and see how he feels.
Yeah, because he's in it but out of it. Mm-hmm. He'll actually bring logic to my emotion. Which is basically the way it's been my entire life. But Dad's gotten a little bit more emotional, and I've matured slightly.
No, but you did look. You said you looked at it.
But he's going to bring the logic.
Though. But even logically, is not one thing that has happened. Even logically, can register, because I'm not in it, and I'm even looking at it going, I can't.
The best bowler this planet has ever seen went on social media and said something about this and disagrees with it.
Yeah.
The best bowler on the planet has a problem with this. It's a problem.
They better have a very good reason come a month or two down the line.
What's the reason going to be, bro?
Like I said,
I'll tell you what. Next month, if me, you, and Rob win a PBA title because all these softballs are extinct,
then I'm okay with it.
Then I'm okay with it. Yeah, because that's going to happen, right?
Makes sense.
It's like legit, dude. It's like telling the kids in college baseball that still swing with a metal bat, go to the pros, and now you have to swing a wood bat. Like, that's what makes Mark McGwire and Mike Piazza and Ken Griffey Jr. so spectacular, because they hit the ball as far with wood as mammoths hit it with metal. Right?
Or it's literally like taking the aluminum bat out of their hand after game 44 of a 162 game season, saying, by the way, we just stopped doing this. Now, again, obviously they don't use wood, they don't use aluminum in any professional league, but it's similar to this. That's what it would be like.
Yeah.
And that's where the rationale makes no freaking sense. Okay, golfers, you can have 20 clubs, but after this week, it's only down to 5. Doesn't make any sense.
Not this week. This round.
Tomorrow.
This round.
Right. Yeah. We're 12 under.
Hey, guys, enjoy practice session. Enjoy the first round. Black curtain. Put him back in the car.
It sounds so stupid the way we're saying it, but
it sounds so stupid the way we're saying it because that's what happened.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like, how can just us freaking dummies? That's all. Not you, JP. But
maybe we are dummies. Maybe that's the only logical reason. Saying. Maybe we're just that big at assholes, all of us, including all of the studs that have commented tonight.
Everybody in the comments, everybody posting on social media, every other podcast that aren't as good. But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I almost have to hold out hope.
And I don't have any banned bowling balls. All my shit's good. All of it's good, and I'm this pissed about it. I can't imagine the way those guys are feeling right now.
Because
when something is so when something is so illogical, it's frustrating. It's like when you're telling somebody, "Hey, this is cream soda." It says cream soda right on it, and they drink it and they go, "It's not cream soda." And you're like, "No, it is."
Now this is watered down iced tea.
Yeah, like no, this is a Dr. Pepper with a shot of like no, I'm telling you, I'm opening the bottle, and it's so frustrating because what am I missing? Please tell me, what am I missing? My interpretation skills are still there. What the flip am I missing? And that's the frustrating part. And that's why you're emotional because, again, maybe in a month that some higher up said, oh, by the way, I couldn't even come up with a reason to even justify it, but maybe they'll say something and they'll use a bunch of big words and we'll go, okay.
Well, I can see the reason if it literally is an integrity issue with the ball and it being illegal. But the question still stands, why now?
Why not everyone? And why not all of them? Well, it's like taking one scuffed baseball out of the box, but leaving the 10 scuffed baseballs in it. Or, okay, you can't use a nail file, but you can use a nail clipper to scuff the baseball. Like something like that.
Or, for God's sake, if these 6 balls are suspect, guys, I don't care how long it takes. There's 150 of you here with these bowling balls.
Check all of them.
We're going to check every one of them.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro. This one's too soft. You can't use it this week.
That's what I was saying earlier.
Yours passes. This one goes in.
Right.
Like, why not do that? Why literally just do this to that many bowlers?
Well, like I said, they had the specific.
What are you thinking?
They had the specific batch of the Purple Hammer, so we could recognize that there was irregularities between those balls. But like you just said, why ban the entire line? Maybe 100 out of the 150 are legal, and the players are fucked because they just put a broad sweeping ban on all of them instead of, like you said, testing each one individually. But the point still stands, though. Regardless if they go after other manufacturers next week or the week after, you can't change the fucking rules of the game while you're playing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like nothing is. I don't think anything they say is going to justify this action. I can't imagine. I hope. I wouldn't give a shit anyway. I don't care.
Mike Engelbert has a good thing here to say. He says, I'm of your dad's generation and missing the restrictions on ball materials, cores, etc. The scoring was not as crazy as today, but it was fair for everybody and a lot less expensive. Also, the ABC had exponentially more members. Wouldn't turning back the clock a bit and making scoring more of a challenge? It is discouraging to watch some Yahoo with 150 average and no name get a new ball and shoot 2 or 3 700s in a row before they float back to reality. Where's the challenge when you can in the cutoff there? I don't know what that's.
I've been saying that for a while, but I know the sport bowling kind of screwed things up too. I'll give you guys a stat real quick. Rick Riley was an awesome writer for Sports Illustrated. He's got his own column. I'm sure he's got a podcast now. This is about maybe 15 years ago or maybe 10 years ago, and he had written about bowling. It was always on the back of Sports Illustrated, and he said in 1980. There was about 1,200 300 games league sanctioned, and there were over 5 or 6 million league bowlers. And he said with each 300, they would check the lanes, they would check the pins and whatnot for any 300 because they're so rare. 1,200 over the course of 5 or 6 million league bowlers. Then I think it was like 2006, 2007, maybe 50,000 300s are bowled. There was only 2 million league bowlers. And all the checking and everything because they just couldn't keep up with so many. It was just they made it that it was almost like you get a ribbon for hitting the bullseye on a in the dart game or something like that, rather than making an achievement. So I'm just giving you stats. That's how it was.
Again, I mean, my dad bowled 300 801 in 1965. It was before he went to Vietnam. 1965, and I believe, if I recall correctly, it was the only 300 800 bowled in 7 years in the state of New York, and the only one bowled for another 8 years after that. I'll have to double check that stat.
It doesn't sound very far off. You could have said 10 years, and we'd still believe it.
But again, in answering that, I forgot his name, but the guy from my dad's era.
Mike Engelbert.
Evolution is evident in any sport. I mean, baseball, now we have the box to call balls and strikes. football. I mean, better pads, better equipment, mobile helmets to talk, microphones in the helmet to talk to a coach. Yeah. Golf balls that have 2 or 3 piece core designs, bowling balls, 2 or 3 piece core designs, reactive resin, hybrids, blah, blah, blah. Every sport has evolution. And the same thing with the variables in that sport. For instance, they used to oil lanes with a spray gun and a mop. Then you used to oil lanes with the first introductory lane machines that you had to legit bend all the way down to the ground to push forward. Yep. Now we have machines that do it on their own, that you can program specific board per board amount of units or milliliters of oil per board. It's everything advances, and the evolution advances in every sport. And in basically every sport, the thing that keeps people involved in that sport is getting better. So for getting people involved in bowling, what resin bowling balls did was it created an opportunity for bowlers that were not accurate in the days of having to be nothing but precision with rubber and plastic to now anybody can virtually throw a curve, right? But again, here's where bowling is screwed up, and I will say this over and over again, and I will always compare it to golf. Imagine walking into any golf store right now and picking out the best driver on the market. We're talking 460cc head, stiff Fubuki shaft, Golf Pride Tour Wrap grip, the whole 9 yards, right? It's 2022. You can hit a driver, if you have any basics in golf now, a decent swing, you could hit a driver 220 yards. Decent, if you're decent. If you're good, you can hit it 260. If you're really good, you can hit it 280 or 290 now, right? The best golfers in the world are no longer competing on the same length par 4s and par 5s that they competed on in 1990 and 1980. Why? There weren't 460cc heads. There weren't the best graphites and steels in the industry. The precision and the evolution of the sport has now made the variables of the sport change. So now a par 4 is not 390 yards anymore. A par 4 is closer to 500 yards in PGA competition because the length of the course is dictated by the technology being used. There is a million arguments here that we could talk about for days. In our sport, the way to level the playing field is to change the variables to match the technology that's in your hand. And you do that by increasing the weight of the pins. Again, there's 2 sides to that coin also. If you make the pins heavier, just like the issue with the bowling balls, the more powerful and accurate guys are still going to beat you. That's the problem. And now people that were averaging 210 or 220 are all of a sudden going to start averaging 205 or 190. They're going to start thinking they suck, and they're going to quit. So you're actually going to lose members if you make this game harder. People don't want to fucking do it. They don't want to do it.
But you were saying something too, where now again it's bowling's fault, and maybe that's what you were getting to, because you said people want to know they're getting better. People didn't get better. The shot just got easier. Exactly. So and that hindered them, if anything. That taught them they could spray it and still get a strike. Now think about this. If the heavier pins come about, now you're not going to carry those ones that you tug or ones that go out too far and come back with nothing. So maybe, even though they're I don't know. That's a good point too, because they got fragile egos. They'll probably think they suck, but they weren't better. That's just it. And as long as they knew that from the get-go, maybe that'll help them. But I don't know. So
let me interject for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really want to get to this point. Robert Vrano says, my son and I checked 20 balls sitting in my shop last night, both undrilled and drilled, and they were all above 73 hardness. So let me ask you this, Johnny. If you have some pros that are really fucking pissed off right now, or some other bowlers that are, pretty good.
Well, time out real quick, because that is a pro. I mean, just in because I've been to Robert's shop, and I've practiced with Danielle McEwen in that building. And Rob, forgive me if I get the name wrong, but I believe it's Victoria. Anyway, if you guys get a chance to watch his daughter bowl, man, oh man, she's the second coming of she's going to be tough on the ladies tour. So, but that's my point, is that's a well-respected bowling ball driller in our industry. And he just I know he sat there and measured 20 balls, and I know that they're all perfectly fine with the hardness, dude.
So what's to say if the pros that have these balls that are in questions get them tested and be like, no, my balls are
I
fine.
could have used
They're
it after
legal.
all. It's basically there's your witch hunt.
Yeah,
Maybe
legal.
that's why the PBA and USBC can't seem to connect the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the PBA has that mentality and says, I know it's probably a bad batch because I know all these other ones are perfectly fine.
I feel like it's only the USBC that has this train of thought, and the rest of bowling is thinking what the PBA is thinking. Like it's not like a even Steven flip here. It's almost like a 98-1 or 2.
It's so obnoxious to me. It's so obnoxious to me. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
I mean, what if Belmo came and says, look, I just had my shit checked yesterday and they're fine. Like this is bullshit and you need to launch an investigation.
I have never, ever wanted a Storm staffer to win a major more than this week. Like I might go in and like, I don't know, wear like a lightning bolt around my neck or something and just randomly go, yeah. But anyway, Lucas, I miss you too, bro. I saw that picture of you on Facebook earlier with that huge fat head your mom was holding. That was great.
Michael Amando says this is just extremely drastic for bowling balls that are basically are being passed on as legal by individual USBC counterparts until 2023, to which then the ruling will be reestablished. Something just as extremely suspect that the event with the single most amateur bowlers and professional bowlers under one roof in this time frame they choose to do such a thing, especially considering the fact that these amateurs are most likely not all on staff and do not have the capabilities to just
basically everything we've discussed.
Can you put that
4 parts of that?
Can you put that back up? I'm gonna take a snip of this, and I'm gonna send this to everybody that wants to ask me about this because this is gold.
Yeah, no, that literally that's
Thank
every
you.
topic we've talked about.
It's
was
spot on
in that one freaking sentence. We've asked that question. We've questioned why, we've questioned when, explained the amateurs, the fact that they can't get to bowling balls as easily as the pros. And again, if it is going to be 2023 and they do that, great. Do that then.
Yeah.
Do that. Have this evaluation over the summer. And someone said, like, who can investigate the people that are doing this? Is there any there's no governing body, there's no commission, right, for bowling.
Right.
So like,
Kim just said they're not even showing the results.
Right,
they're not even showing the results.
How do you know, right? You
How
just
do you know?
Yeah.
For all I know, it's a keg party behind that curtain.
No one thinks it's weird to pull Belmo to check all his balls because he's killing it right now. He's always killed it, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, if you are gonna target,
you go to the top
company,
guy, but
you're gonna target the top guy. I mean, let's be honest. In the industry, it's you're calling in the you're calling in the New England Patriots for the deflated ball. You're calling in the Yankees because they have more money than you. You're calling in those kinds of teams into the office to rattle the feathers a little bit.
But anybody who's watched bowling has seen that Belmo isn't just winning because of the bowling ball. The guy throws it 22 miles per hour, then he throws it 15. Like, the guy's working these bowling balls, making them do whatever he wants almost, as opposed to what the bowling ball is. So it's not like we haven't seen talent and his versatility. But you're right. Go to the top guy.
Rudy Reds wants to know what happened when Belmo refused to let them take his stuff behind the curtain.
I don't know, Rudy. All I know is that happened during the practice session before the actual statement was made that the balls were disallowed from the event.
Did he bowl? Did he bowl in it?
Belmo?
Back out, yeah.
He's bowling. He's in 16th.
Oh, all right. Shocking.
He's in, yeah. He's.
Oh, yeah. If I use illegal balls, I'd be good too.
And the other Titan, they pulled Simo and he told him to pound sand also. Oh, I love Anthony. He's the best. Oh, I love him. I miss him.
You
so
expected
much.
him, right? So I mean,
I can't wait to text him. That's so great.
Apparently, they're using it for data collection. They said. I mean,
remember earlier when I texted you data collection and I said taking notes from my buddy.
Yeah,
that's because I tuned into Robin Big Mike's Sweep the Rack podcast because those are good friends from back home, and I definitely love listening to their content because they bring one of the best perspectives you'll ever see in at least the World of Bowling podcast. So everybody watching, make sure you check out Sweep the Rack.
We don't do promos for other shows here. No, we're not doing that.
I'm a nice guy.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's nice. We're the management.
Darren says, relax with the Belmo stuff. 50 random players were picked from the field to get balls checked. Belmo is just the one that posted. Also, they were told they can refuse. Yes, I did. I know that it was a volunteer thing. But again, all that reiterates is he was pulled in a batch of 50, but he was not going to be pulled.
Yeah, that was a way to get to him. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. But I do understand what Darren's saying too. James asks, do you think this hurts Storm products as far as how they go about releases and making sure specifications going forward? I'm a pro shop operator, and I'm all for less releases overall, like what the brands at Brunswick have been doing with the EBI brands they've acquired. Wait, put it up again.
Yeah, sure.
No, I don't. I don't think it's going to affect the way they go about releases. Again, this whole thing just seems like complete and utter bullshit to me. I personally think that it either goes away or they follow suit because now they simply have to and just, level the playing field. Finish Michael's thought there, Rad Rob, from earlier.
And to further go into it, I live on Long Island personally, and I've already seen that they have made the 6 balls under question now completely legal. I saw John Van Hees post that Rhode Island's considering them legal. I also saw Ohio USBC pass them. So what does it say to USBC as a whole that these states and individual counterparts have a better understanding of the impact of the banning these balls?
Oof. It sounds like the PBA and the USBC may not be the only entities having a hard time agreeing on something. I mean, it is a shame that the governing body of the sport and then all of those associated with it can't even be on the same page. So how do you expect the other governing body of our sport to match your idea?
Well, it's almost like the federal government, right? They can make a ruling, but it's states' rights, and if the states don't agree with the federal laws, they have the right to not go along with it. So It sounds like it's a power play by somebody at the USBC, and the counterparts amongst the states and the leagues and the sanctioned tournaments are like, no, fuck that. We're not doing that. Can the USBC hold those people accountable if they don't follow the rules?
I don't know.
Damn it, John.
I don't know the answer to that.
Because
I really try.
The rule is yet.
I'll tell you if I'm opinionated. I'll tell you if I'm being factual, and I'll also tell you if I just flat out don't know. Again, this is all speculation. This is all me trying to wrap my brain around every single possible scenario as to why they would have done something so idiotic, and that's where my brain is.
Is there anything that's happened in history that is anything remotely comparable to this?
In our sport?
In bowling, yeah. That they just decided to change your bowling shoes or something or whatever. I don't know. Like, is there... So like this is like a new precedent basically in A, stupidity, B, piss poor timing, C, the unknown.
Okay. The closest thing that I could think of is when the two-handed revolution started. There were a lot more haters in the early stages of two-handed bowling. You had some people saying it's unfair because he's throwing it with two hands. It's unfair because both hands are on the ball at the point of release.
Was it ever deemed illegal?
No.
It was,
and it should never be deemed illegal. And anybody that watches slow motion video of a two-hander and a one-hander, the same exact thing is happening at the bottom of the swing. The only difference is a traditionalist does it with a thumb and a two-hander does it with their other hand. That hand comes off the bowling ball the same time a thumb would clear a bowling ball. It's still the fingers doing the work.
Right.
So, but even then, like, there was never like a no two-handers allowed in this tournament because you have a distinct unfair advantage because you're more powerful than somebody using their thumb. Like, other than something even as minute as the early stages of two hands, no. Okay. When they started soaking bowling balls in the 70s to make them softer, and they started soaking them in that highly flammable substance, I always forget the name of it. Don McCune did it, and I mean, when he won Player of the Year, I believe it was 78 or whatever year it was. That was a distinct advantage. and they banned the use of that substance because A, it softened bowling balls, and B, because it could kill you. You could legit explode. They would fill up this tub in like the middle of a field outside the hotel room, and they dropped the bowling ball in there. So anyway, other than something like that,
I don't know who figured that out. Who decided they should do that?
Yeah, I should know this, and I don't.
I got an idea.
Matt McNeil's subbing on my team tomorrow night. I'll ask him. He'll definitely.
I just took a chemistry class and watched Mr. Wizard's World, so I'm going to try this and see how it works. And then if they win the tournament, I guess they were on the right track.
Just to acknowledge Jeff Steers here, he says, you may have touched on this earlier, but why just Storm products? Why not all brands? We're not sure. I mean, maybe next week or the week after, the coming weeks, they do go after other manufacturers. But right now, this is all the info we have. And, we haven't been given a good reason why. But, yeah, we discussed that earlier.
What if they come after these soon? Like, what am I going to do? They can't ban these.
They probably will. They probably will.
They're going to be like, you know what? They don't meet the specs. They're definitely not too soft.
Yeah, damn right. So I know these ain't too soft.
I'm cramping up now. See, I'm old.
George Abode says timing is ridiculous. Imagine the federal government saying tonight that effective tomorrow, you need a real ID to fly. I mean, it's changing the rules.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's causing unnecessary mass chaos, and at all levels of the game, because you screw people, you misinform people, and you just flat out don't give a shit about anybody, seemingly, is what you're doing.
Ain't that the kicker of it?
Yeah.
Like they didn't care who it was going to affect. They were just like, man, hey, SOL, buddy.
Yeah,
it's a sweeping thing, which, again, does not make sense why it's all the balls. And if they don't test them all individually, how do you know there wasn't just a specific pouring? It just doesn't make sense. And to the poor amateurs and the people that don't have the capability to go to the trucks and get whatever ball they want, just imagine if that's literally all they had. Like if somehow both their bags were all those 6 balls, they can't compete, and they already spent the money to go out there. Like it's the biggest time of the year, for the Open Championships and the Masters, and you just screwed a bunch of amateurs that don't have the competitive advantage.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention bowling in either of these events, whether it be the USBC Open Championships or the Masters. You guys know as well as anybody, and anybody listening that's an athlete, your mind has got to be right in order to perform. Mm-hmm. If you're on that approach and you're not thinking about executing a quality shot or focusing on making a simple routine spare, and instead you're walking up the escalator wondering if you're going to pass a hardness check that was introduced an hour after your plane landed, and now you got to go refill the fucking rental car for $6 a gallon out here, scumbags, and half the gas stations don't even have gas. Like, you can't be thinking about that kind of shit when you're trying to aim at the Masters and trying to beat Jason Belmonte. I don't give a fuck how soft the ball is, how soft the fucking ball is. Doesn't matter. It's so idiotic, man. I'm getting myself pissed off right now.
You said that all in one breath. Like it's that East Coast vibe. When you talk to you run out of breath.
It's
and
irritating.
Like, I can't believe it's just such a bullshit. You're never gonna get that.
Yeah, losing it. I feel like Clark Griswold in Christmas Vacation.
Josh Solomon says the question needs to be answered is why did they decide to start testing reactive balls? That's a great question because obviously
that is a great question.
Yeah, because the Purple Hammer was the urethane, and that's what I'm saying. Who tipped them off, dude?
In other words, that's a great point because let's be honest. Let's collectively think about what is the first resin bowling balls I would test right now off the top of my head. If I needed, but that ball is just too good. What makes that ball so special? IQ Tour, Storm, Jackal Ghost, Motive, Obsession Tour Solid, Hammer. Those are the first 3. Original High Road, Storm. Those are the balls I'm testing, guys. Those are 3 different brands. Those are the 3 I'm testing. Oh, I may also add a Motive Venom Shock. Those are the balls I would test because those are the balls that have been out for a long time and everybody still wants, right? Mm-hmm. Those balls are special. Why wouldn't you fucking spot check those? It's Jeff said, woosah, woosah.
You're right, though.
Sorry.
Like
I'm ranting.
It is weird, and I think Ocho hit on the head. Somebody had to be tipped off this because if the focus was on the Purple Hammer and the urethane and the bad pour at Hopkinsville, that's one thing. But to go after a reactive ball in the middle of tournaments for what? Like somebody had to tell them. Like unless they just happened.
Yeah, and they were right. They checked them, and they were technically not according to the specs. So that's
right. Okay. Here's another scenario. if, let's say, because the tour season's almost over, we got the playoffs coming up after the Masters. Rob Pierschat says ball companies test each other's balls. Yes, for sure. Like for instance, if you go to the Brunswick website, or a Radical, you can watch Throwbot, the actual automated machine that can replicate any bowling ball at any time and any release at any time. They'll test it against competitors, and I'm sure each competitor does that. But what was I on? What was my point there? What was I getting at?
We're talking about how you're in favor of Chris Rock over Will Smith.
No, really. What the hell was I just going to say? It was important.
I forget. It was about motive or each other's balls are tested. No shit.
Yeah, we were. Anyway, I was talking about. Okay.
They found. I said they found.
We're at the end of the tour season. We're at the end of the tour season. If every event was an all Storm field, and every single event was won by a UFO alert, a Wolverine, a Phase 4, an Electrify Solid, a Trend 2, and every TV show was those bowling balls, okay, you want to spot check it? Spot check it. Let's see what's up. Why is with the amount of brands that Brunswick is now entangled with, and Motive, another awesome supplier, why haven't we seen any of those products? Because a lot of people throw those products too. Okay. Guess what, though? I still wouldn't do it on day 2 of the Masters. It's still idiotic. So, yeah, that's my thought on that. I would have at least spot checked the great bowling balls, like the established bowling balls, and said, but like Rob Verano said earlier, man, I know he did 20 balls in the shop. I know he's interested, and I know they all pass the specs. I know I'm starting to get a little off the handle, but that's where I'm at.
I mean, I think we kind of drilled this to death. I mean, we're all pretty much in agreement that the timing sucks. For one,
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And 3, why those particular balls? Why the reactive resin out of the blue when no one's even talking about it? Nobody even thought about it.
I don't know, man.
So hopefully we'll find out, and we'll have some, a report on it next week, and we can talk more about it then. But guys, we really appreciate you being out here. We're still 56 strong here, an hour and a half into the show. Really, guys, like, this is a hot button topic, and we thank you for all of your interactions tonight, all of your questions, all of your thoughts.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll learn more in the next week or so, but let's try to end on a good note, Johnny.
Yeah.
How's your league going right now?
Hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. I still have good and bad days, but I kind of got the spark back after bowling USBCs again. So I'm starting to drill more bowling balls. I posted a video today of throwing the new Radical Conspiracy scheme. I drilled that bowling ball because it is one of the sexiest looking bowling balls I've ever seen. It's a really sexy purple, and it has glitter in it and a big bright yellow stamp. That's why I drilled it. No other reason other than that. And I put a super duper weak layout in it because, again, I like I've spoken in past shows, I like to grab it at the bottom, and the super weak pin placement and the stabilization of that weight block in that cover, it's a real nice, smooth, nice piece for me. So looking forward to throwing that. As I said, tomorrow night I'm bowling with Matt McNeil. He's subbing on my team. Last time he was here, he subbed for me and bowled 298 the first game with a blower 710. So maybe I can beat him tomorrow night. And the Masters, we're done with day 2, Yes. And again, the Masters, real quick, again, anybody that doesn't know the format, they bowl 3 5-game qualifying blocks over 3 days, separated into A, B, and C squad. And then they cut the field to the top 63 plus last year's defending champion, who I believe is Thomas Larson. Did he win the Masters last year? I think so.
Well, that's kind of what they do in the All Valley Karate Tournament. Is the winner? At least it was when Daniel LaRusso fought Mike Barnes. He got like a bye into the finals or something like that.
Kim, we appreciate your comments. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you soon. Please send my best to Les as well.
UNGC got a new durometer for Valentine's Day and still learning how to use it.
I got my girlfriend something very similar to that name, and she's learning how to use it for Valentine's Day, in fact.
Anyway, real quick on the Masters. Again, I had mentioned earlier that it's one of the easiest and hardest tournaments to win. After your 15 games of qualifying, you go into bracket seeding, much like March Madness in basketball, where one bowl 64 and so on down the line. And the whole goal in the Masters is to make it to the field of 64 players. And then once you're there, it's you versus one guy in a 3-game set. So
how many games is it in the tournament? Like if you're 1 versus 64, it's just 1 game to advance, or you got to beat him in a 3-game series?
3-game total pins.
All right.
Total series. So like I said earlier, it's partially luck, it's partially skill, and it's partially who's throwing it the best and who's carrying the most. You could run into a guy that shoots 800 at you, and you could be in the loser's bracket for a day and a half working your ass off just to make TV. Or you could go and shoot 620 every set, and everybody you bowls 580, and you only bowl 4 matches and you make it to TV. So, again, you expect to see, I would say, at least one person on the show on Sunday that you don't know, that you've either never heard of or only know very little bit about. Expect to see 2 seasoned vets on that show, and probably 1, maybe 2 of the guys who are tour vets that may not have nearly the amount of titles that they should. You're going to see a nice mix of players this week. And by the looks of the numbers, through 2 squads, your tournament leader is right around plus 279. That's an average of 227, which is relatively low, even for a major. The only tournament I would say that's not a very low tournament leader average for would be the U.S. Open. And the current cut number on the screen that I have in front of me is resting at plus 44, a 204 average. So right there, that tells you emphasis on shot making, spares, and staying ahead of the moves. I talked to a couple players there earlier this week that said their exact words were, urethane is 100% in play until it's not, which means urethane must look really good and then just completely disappear. We're talking 230 to 130. And I've seen a bunch of 130s on there from good players. So, you obviously definitely have to make sure that you stay ahead of the moves, make your spares, and it's quality shot making right now. As we cut down to the top 64, and there's a lot less traffic on the lane, and the cream of the crop is what's left in the tournament, you'll start to actually see those scores go up. You'll see a lot of 730 to 720 matches, 690 to 670s. It's going to go up once the talent pool goes up, just like any other sport. So, yeah, looking for a really exciting week here at the Masters in my backyard, back here in Vegas at the Gold Coast. And there's my 10 cents on the Masters for right now.
Well, I think we covered enough on this show.
I've been rolling great, Rob. Thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how's your league going, buddy?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you guys next week. I mean, I only just hit a little easy 698 the other day. You know, I'll probably shoot 7 tomorrow. It's I used that blue bowling ball that he knows.
I like the blue one. Yeah.
That's a Roto Grip Wrecker.
Yes.
It's blue and ivory.
Okay.
It
is. I guess.
Has an orange logo.
Orange lettering or whatever. My orange.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Last week he said that ball was purple and something else, right? Didn't he?
No, the purple was the old one. I didn't use it. I don't remember what it is. It's and then I have a green and purple one.
Butch Cooper, thank you very much. First time watcher of the show. And thank you for subscribing. Everybody that does enjoy the show, we definitely appreciate you hitting that subscribe and that like button.
On iTunes. And anywhere else.
Oh, yeah. I'll let Rad Rob do all of that.
Subscribe to us on iTunes. You can listen to Straight Up 5 podcast, the audio version, on any podcast app, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podbean Addict, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, you can listen to us and catch up on our archives. This is episode 27 or so. So
you're going to be shocked when you listen to the archives, and you're going to be well entertained. That's for sure. This is a very, very mild indication, yet still factual, of what we do on Straight Up 5, but we're a little more raw and
a little bit more unfettered on the.
We've definitely take the fettered out of the building when we're on the podcast.
Yeah, no fettering allowed. So
and truth be told, guys, I mean, again, I'm only reserved because I have a genuine respect for this sport, and I have a genuine respect for what the sport has done for my life through privileges I've had through it. So any emotion that comes out of me, any cursing, any seemingly bad mouthing, it's all based on logic and facts and what the sport has produced in my life.
Full on
And
passion.
true passion. Like even when I tell myself I'm not interested in bowling anymore, I'm into weightlifting, I'm into this, I'm into NFTs, I'm into the metaverse, whatever, I'm into spirituality and law of attraction. And anything else you want to talk about, I still love bowling. So anything that we talk about or I definitely vent about on this show, that's my heart talking to you guys. That's my heart trying to combine with the logic that's in my brain, and really hope you guys thoroughly enjoy it and know that that's where we're all coming from on this show, no doubt.
Absolutely right. You guys, you want to follow JP on Twitter? It's at JP07. Ocho,
No, it's at JPJR07.
JPJR, sorry, JPJR07. It's at the bottom of the screen, correct?
Hey, that's why we're a team, man.
Ocho, what's your handle?
I don't know.
Johnny, tell everybody what Ocho's handle is.
Y'all can find Ocho at the DR Ocho.
And you can follow me at Rad Rob Gaming. Again, if you guys want to listen to this on the audio side, it is on any podcast app. The show's called Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. And this video version will also be on my YouTube channel, Rad Rob Gaming. Or you can just watch the replay here on Johnny's Facebook page. It's for the public. So if there's anything you missed, go back and watch the beginning of the show and check out our other 27 or so episodes of Straight Up 5. And we appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. So, look, we had a really good crowd all night, very lively. Obviously, it's a hot button topic, just happened today. So it's really good timing for us for content. But it looks like everyone appreciates us tonight, and we appreciate you as always. So it's good to have new people coming in that we haven't seen before. We appreciate all you guys that are first-timers or newcomers. Again, the Straight Up 5 podcast with Johnny Petraglia Jr. drops every Friday on all podcast apps. And again, we like this live format. We started doing this about 3 weeks ago or so.
Yeah,
and it's really starting to catch on. I enjoy it. I love interacting with the people. I know you do as well, Johnny, because you're a people person. Easy for me to say. And
I hate everybody.
No, hates everybody.
Plus, how do you spell our podcast? Like, let's also make sure they have the right podcast and how it's spelt and whatnot, because we don't want any other going anywhere else. And we're the number one game in town.
Really? Here, I'll put it on the screen.
There you
Straight
go. For everybody.
There you go. So number 5, Straight Up 5.
And number 5, as opposed to our email, which is FIVE.
Yeah, because somebody else actually had that email. It's the weirdest thing. It really is.
That's great.
We were late to the game.
Yeah, we were. Just a day late and $1 short. We'll be back next week. Next week, I think we're actually, hopefully we'll get more news on the banning of these balls and maybe the PBA.
If we don't, we're just gonna freaking rage. Seriously, like we're literally just gonna make up our own stuff. I'm gonna have a detailed story about what's gonna happen if I don't hear anything. And
I'm gonna grab a whiteboard and write down the steps that got me to
where you became
disallowing. And this is exactly why we have to ban these bowling balls right now.
It's mine's gonna start with John Gotti, literally, and it's gonna have like a pegboard, like a detective. It's John Gotti's gonna be in the middle, and at the end, it's gonna be why they banned the pearl, ivory, whatever.
Kendrick, absolutely, and thanks for the shout out earlier. Definitely gonna throw that scheme tomorrow. Last night at League, I'm so used to whether you bowl 240 or 260 the first game, you need to change balls the second game at South Point. It's the craziest thing, right? Last night I didn't have to. I shot 270 with the scheme the first game, and then I went to a ghost in the second frame of game 2 and bowled 190. And then I got pissed that I went to the ghost, so I stayed with the ghost to try and bowl 230 and make myself not look like a huge asshole, and I bowled 190 again. Fuck. So tomorrow I'm just going to stick with the scheme, because when I finally threw it for the last 4 to shoot 190 and win my point the last game, I was using it in the exact same spot that I was game 1. So I could have shot 840 last night, and instead I shot 650 because
instead you're in your own head, and that's what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yes, so it happens to Ocho.
Yeah, it's
Ocho
about to.
Ocho changes balls every frame, really.
I'm just letting y'all know if you don't leave, I'm just gonna keep talking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Well,
running.
I want to get out of here. I'm done. I mean, we said our goodbyes. Don't we have to play music and everything? Like, and thank you for being here on Rad Rob's network, being unfettered and having an unfiltered and no filter and the best show in the world and on the land, in the land of the lost. Rad
Perfect.
Rob.
See you guys next time.
See you, bro.
Thanks for listening to Straight Up 5. If you would like to send your questions into Johnny J